My name is Rachel Carson. I was born on May 27, 1907, and I died 57 years later on April 14, 1964. I was raised in Springdale, Pennsylvania, and I was a talented writer and very interested in nature. I went to the Pennsylvania College for Women and graduated in 1929. Later, I earned my master's degree in zoology from the Johns Hopkins University in 1932. I was very interested in wildlife and nature and would write pamphlets on environmental conservation in my free time, as well as working in the U.S. Bureau of Fisheries as a writer of the radio show called Romance Under the Waters. Environmental conservation was always very interesting to me, and now I had the fame to write and be listened to. I published many articles and books, starting with my first article, Under Sea, published in a magazine called Atlantic Monthly. Shortly after, I published a book called Under the Sea Wind. Since the majority of America hadn't seen what under the sea was like, it became very popular, letting people visualize what the ocean was like. One of my writings, called The Sea Around Us, was a prize-winning study of the ocean. From then on, I was known as a naturalist and science writer to the public. I had resigned from my job at the U.S. Bureau of Fisheries after working my way to the top to be the chief editor to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The idea for my next book had come to mind. This is why I resigned, to focus all my time on writing my next big idea. I wrote about how humans are ruining nature and destroying the beauty, and that we were going down a one-way road, annihilating the environment. My writings made a significant difference, especially when I published Silent Spring in 1962. After World War II, pesticides, which were chemicals that were added to the ground to kill pests and weeds that were farmers' cropping enemies. The chemicals that the scientists discovered were amazingly effective and very easy for farmers to use. Unfortunately, most did not know what damage the pesticides did to the ground once they had sunk under. As gallons were soaked into the ground, people began to realize that pesticides poisoned lakes and streams that were near the soil, and even could kill humans who consumed the crops. My book warned the public about the danger of pesticides and took on the government and the chemical industry. The government did not scare me. I testified and demanded new policies and a way to save the earth from this danger that we faced. Sadly, I died after battling breast cancer. I may be gone, but I'm glad that I helped the world know of these conservation problems and hope that I continue to inspire the young generations to fight for nature and keep the living world and its creatures safe and in peace.
I believe that natural beauty has a necessary place in the development of any individual or any society. I believe that whenever we destroy beauty, whenever we substitute something man-made and artificial for a natural feature of this earth, we have retarded some part of man's spiritual growth. In contemplating the exceeding beauty of this earth, I have found calmness and courage. For there is symbolic as well as actual beauty in the migration of the birds, in the ebb and flow of tides, in the folded bud ready for the spring. There is something infinitely healing in the repeated refrains of nature. The assurance that dawn comes after night and spring after winter. mankind has gone very far into an artificial world of his own creation. He has sought to insulate himself in his cities of steel and concrete away from the realities of earth, water, the growing seed. And intoxicated with the sense of his own power, he seems to be going farther and farther into experiments toward the destruction of himself and his world. There is certainly no single remedy for this condition, and I can offer no panacea. But it seems reasonable to believe, and I do believe, that the more clearly we can focus our attention on the wonders and the realities of this universe about us, the less taste we shall have for its destruction. That's what I want to say.